Good morning, everyone. Oh, goodness. It seems like a lot of you jumped on here early waiting for me. So thank you. Kelly Perpich, good morning. And good morning, Mary Van Donlin and Karen Karst and Denise from Medford, Wisconsin. And Nancy Hippis. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm Sarah Simon. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator located in Appleton, Wisconsin. And I know I was just here on Tuesday, so it seems like you just saw me. Good morning, Betty. But I'm back. I like to transition in the non-summer months to a Saturday morning. It's just a little bit easier for me with my job. However, I do have some Saturdays when I have stamping events. And so I wanted to give you my schedule as I see it right now. So right now I'm looking at next Saturday, I'll be at 8:30. Saturday, October 7th, I have a card buffet in the morning. So I will not be able to go live until 12:30. And I have a special guest coming in. I know how much you guys like when Kathy Miller comes in and stamps with me. One of the other people that I get a lot of inspiration from, in fact, one of the cards that we're making today is inspired by her, is Jay Shante. And Jay did a display for a demonstrator event last weekend where she featured the Holy Night suite, and she made a card that was just beautiful. Well, she made a lot of cards that were beautiful, but one in particular that she demonstrated there. And I asked, would you be willing to do that on my live? And she's so excited to do it. So she's going to be here October 7th to do to be my guest stamper. I'll do a card, she'll do a card. And then I'll go back to 8:30 on the 14th and the 21st. And then I'm not quite sure about the 28th. I'm going to come back to you. So on the 28th, um, you know that I went to Lansing 2 weekends ago. And while we were there, Kathy and Lisa and I decided that since COVID, we, like all of us demonstrators who used to get together monthly and just kind of share ideas and do some make and takes and play some games and just kind of share our hobby together. We haven't done anything in person. Everything that we've done has been virtual. And we decided it was time to get back together in person. And so we are going to be hosting an event for demonstrators. It's going to be on Saturday, October 28th from 11 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And if you have to leave early, you can leave early. So I know a lot of demonstrators tune in. So if you are in Wisconsin, in the Appleton area, and you are a demonstrator and would like to join us, send me an email and I can send you the registration form. The cost is $10, and that includes we're going to have a little goodie bag for you. We will have prizes for any of the games that we play. That'll be product, and we will have make and takes. We just ask that you bring a dish to pass because we are going to be over the lunch hour. So we'll have hot turkey sandwiches and then whatever anybody else wants to bring, and it's going to be so much fun. And so it's going to be at Xavier High School. I was able to get our cafeteria for that event. And so, yeah, it's going to be fun. So if you are a demonstrator and you're interested, I know, like I said, I know a lot of demonstrators follow me. Send me an email if you haven't seen the registration form, if it's something that you're interested in. All right, so we have prizes to give away for 2 weeks because I did not have it ready on Tuesday when I went because all of a sudden I was going live and I'm like, I didn't do prizes. And so I needed to, it takes me a while to do that. And so I did end up doing it. So 2 weeks ago on Tuesday when we met, the stamps that or the cards that we made, I can't speak this morning, the cards that we made, we did this card featuring those translucent floral stamp set, but this actually was from the new paper that's an online exclusive. We're going to be working with another online exclusive today as well. So we have that card, and then we had our autumn card that kind of goes on and just like so much beauty everywhere where you could stand this up and have just a lot of fall beauty on like a mantle or uh, anywhere on a table. So receiving these for commenting is Betty Rosenow. So Betty, I will be getting these in the mail to you. And then I have the ones that we made on Tuesday to give away as well. Thank you for all of you who are sharing. I really appreciate that. And if you could give me a thumbs up, that helps as well. So we made this card using those Abundant Beauty masks, decorative masks. And this is our creative challenge. You have until next week, Saturday, to do that. And then we did the winter birthday that had the snowflakes and had the little bear on the inside. Okay, so receiving these for commenting since Tuesday is Carrie Peterson. So Carrie, I will get these in the mail to you. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Carrie, Jay is your sister. So she's going to be coming and doing a display. So you'll have to make sure you tune in that day, or doing a demonstration, I should say. All right, then we have for sharing. For all of you who shared, make sure you comment that you shared, because like on Facebook, it said 5 people shared from Facebook last time, and not one of them has their privileges open that I can see who you are. So I do look at Facebook. Good morning, Jay. We were just talking about you. Um, uh, uh, I do look at Facebook, I look at my blog, and I also look at YouTube. And I look at the YouTube live, and I look at the YouTube replay as well. So I look at all of those places and put all the people in for the drawing. So I don't remember which week. I just kind of put everybody in. So receiving for sharing one of the weeks, I don't know which one, is some of this iridescent ribbon that is just gorgeous. This is going to be going off to Patty Hansen. So Patty, thank you for sharing. I'll get that off in the mail to you. And then also receiving some ribbon. And this is the braided linen trim, which we are going to be using today, is going to be going off to Melanie Foy. So Melanie, I will get this in the mail to you. Thank you guys for congratulating all the winners. Yeah, I wish I could give something to everyone who supports me, but I'd go broke. All right, then for placing orders, so the first person is going to be receiving a pack of the paper that we are using today in both of our cards. This is called the Garden Walk paper. It has different floral images. It has Christmas paper in it. And then also the Distress Tile embossing folder. So getting both of those things is Michelle Jones from Green Bay. I will get this in the mail to you, Michelle. And then the next week, I think this one was for this week, receiving the stamp set Year to Celebrate with the little party horns and the streamers and New Year's, congrats, happy birthday on there, is Amanda Shabo. So Amanda, I will be getting those off to you. Dee, it's good to be here with you. I can't remember somebody, I do read all your comments, and somebody last week commented, did you do your hair different? I love it. And all I've been doing like the last probably week and a half maybe, is I haven't been curling it, and I've just been tucking it behind my ears because I just haven't had time to do that. And it's a little bit healthier for my hair not to be curling it all the time. So that's all that I've been doing different. I haven't done anything else different than just tucked it behind my ears and gone without curling it. So, but thank you for whoever it was that commented. All right, today we are going to be doing, our first card is going to be an easy layout that features some of the designer paper, and then we're also going to be featuring one of our online exclusives and how easy it is to use beautiful designer paper, and then sometimes even match some of that designer paper, the fronts and the backs, to be able to get a nice look. And then the second card will be a fun fold card. That's actually a really easy fun fold card, but it's one that I hadn't seen before. And then I'm going to show you some of my swap cards that I received with the suite of products that I'm going to be featuring today. So today I'm doing all the Garden Walk suite, which is in the holiday catalog. And I'm going to be using the stamp set I'm actually not using the punch on any of the cards today, unfortunately, but it does have a punch. But I'll show you some cards that use the punch. Um, and then um, and then I'll show you how you can combine the paper. Even if you don't want to buy the whole suite of products, you might be able to use it with some of the things you already have in your stash of stamping supplies. So I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera. I'm also going to turn off my overhead lights because you can kind of see, yeah, there's a few shadows there. And I get a little bit better luck when I turn it off. Whoops, tripping over my buckets. All right, there we go. I think that looks a little bit better, less shadows. Okay, so this is the paper. It is a 6x6 patterned paper. And normally in a 6x6, you get 12 different patterns. Actually, you probably get 24 different patterns because you get 12 different two-sided patterns. Um, and then you get 4 of each one for a total of 48. In this one, instead of 4, you end up getting 8 different patterns. Okay, so we've got the 8 different sheets, but you get 6 of each one. So if you're going to be mass producing a bunch of cards or you like a certain pattern, you have a little bit more of it. And then the back is something that's very muted, but you'll be able to see today how the back and the front, you can combine. Like I have a card, I don't think I have that one here for display, but I do have one that I think I use this for, but this, the front and the back. Today we're going to be using this pattern for one of ours, the front and the back, and how they go so well together. I made a card that used this one, the front and the back, and we're going to use this pattern today. We've used this once before as well. So you can combine these to make some really awesome looking cards. And so we're going to do one today that is just more of a layout, and then we will do one that is a fun fold. So let's do the layout first, and we'll save the fun fold, which was inspired again by Miss J. Shante, Mrs. J. Shante. All right, I am going to be using, instead of the stamp set that comes with this bundle, I am going to be using the online exclusive Heartfelt Hexagons. Now, Stampin' Up! Is offering an event on World Card Making Day that's open to anyone. You can sign up. You can see it on their website. And I believe, from what I have heard, they're going to be featuring this stamp set in many of the cards. So you could actually get the stamp set and you could stamp along with them or see what they're making. So this right here is a beautiful stamp set. I loved the sympathy, sending you lots of loves and hugs. I hope your day is filled with joy. Let's eat cake. So you could punch out the greeting of one, or let's eat cake, on the front, and then you could put the I hope your day is filled with joy on the inside, or the Mr. and Mrs. on the outside. Hope your day is filled with joy. You could mix and match these, or you can, like I'm going to do, mix it with another stamp set for my inside greeting. But then this punch, these are some frames, some little things you can add to it. Just a really, really cool stamp set. And you know what? I need to plug in my phone. Last time on Tuesday, I was really lucky because I forgot to plug in my phone and it didn't bother it. So there we go. I'm plugged in so that I don't get unplugged or disconnected. Hello, Sandy. Yeah, I'm on Saturdays again. Just changed, first Saturday. All right. So here is our cardstock. This is going to be for our envelope. So this is our Mossy Meadow, which is 11 inches by 4 1/4. And I scored it at 5 1/2. So again, it's one of those hot dog, I think they call that, instead of the over the top hamburger. I don't know. I never know which way, because a hot dog doesn't really fold this way. The hot dog bun folds. I don't know. But anyway, it's longer. So I think that's why they call it that. I'm not sure. And then I've got wild wheat is in that. And so this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I did emboss that with our one of the essentials embossing folders, the one that is kind of like the scratch marks, I guess, or whatever they call that. All right. And then I wouldn't put um, Poppy Parade with this, but it was in the paper, and I like how it actually ended up giving this card just a little bit of colorful pop because otherwise it was kind of more muted colors, and this Poppy Parade just kind of gives it a little bit of colorful pop. So this is 2 by 5 1/4, and then our DSP is 3 inches by 4 inches. And I purposely cut it this way because this is, I wanted to go 3 across so that I could get 2 across. And then if I cut the 4 off, that leaves me 2 inches on the bottom that I could then use for other things. If I wanted to do a little strip on the inside, which I didn't do on this one, or if I want to use it for a strip down the side of a card, I still have a nice size that I can use. And then this is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Now, you're going to look at this and say, that looks like more than 1/8 of an inch. So I cheated just a little bit, and I do this sometimes because 1/8 of an inch is really, really tiny. So what I do with my 3 by 4 is I get it so that it comes just like right to the, like just barely touching the 3 inch line and just barely touching the 4 inch line. And then the 3 1/8, I go make sure I get all the way over so you can't even see the 3 1/8 inch line, and go all the way over so you can't see the 3 1/8 inch, 4 1/8 inch side. So that's how I do that. So it's just a tad bit bigger than 1/8 of an inch, but not quite 1/4 of an inch that I cut off. Actually, this is a 16-inch around, but you know what I mean. I have a scrap for stamping, and then for my inside, this is 4 by 5 1/4. And I chose to use Very Vanilla for this one. I thought the basic white was just a little bit too much of a stark white. All right, I have to get a scrap paper. I didn't put that on here. I'm out of my square ones that we had for our Stamparatus, and so I don't like to use a full sheet, so I'm just going to fold one of these in half, and then I can always flip it over if I need to use next week or to use later today. All right, we are going to stamp on our scrap, and we are going to stamp on the inside, and then everything else in this card is just putting things together. So on the inside, I'm going to make this actually, let's start with the outside. Sorry, change of plans. We are going to make a sympathy card. So I decided that what I wanted to use was this frame that was a little bit thicker. There's one that's just kind of like little dots, and then there's one that has some lines around the dots. And you know what? I think I grabbed the wrong one. I did. I had both of them on here, and I was playing around with them, and I took the wrong one off. Good thing I saw that before I stamped it. But there's 2 sides to every piece of paper. This is the one that I wanted. Okay, so this one has kind of like lines around the dots, and I can stamp it for you so you can see. I'm going to stamp it in the wild wheat. And I am stamping it a little bit down to the bottom of my scrap because otherwise if it's up too high, I can't get my punch in. So that's why I'm stamping it down. And then I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow. I'm going to keep my wild wheat here because I'm going to use that again. I'm going to use the Mossy Meadow for the With Sincere Sympathy. I don't know about you, but I always seem to need sympathy cards. Okay, so that is in around that frame. And then I decided I wanted to take, these are some like little leaves, so to speak, and I'm just going to use some wild wheat. And I'm just going to put a couple of those inside of this frame, just to add a little bit of what's in the designer paper kind of into my label a little bit. Don't really care for where I put that one, but it's going to be good for today. All right. Then I'm going to take Mossy Meadow, And this is from a different stamp set. Oh, what's it called? Hope and Comfort, maybe? No, Hope You Know. It's called Hope You Know. And may you find peace in the days to come and in the loving thoughts that surround you now. Beautiful saying for a sympathy card. And then I'm going to take a couple of those leaves. Maybe if I stand up, I'll start stamping better. I didn't like where I stamped those other. There we go. Okay, so it just adds a little bit of that wild wheat color to the inside as well. All right, we are done with our stamping. I'll put that back in my bucket. And now we need to punch this out. So again, this just goes right in there. I kind of line it up, and when it's lined up, hold it tight. Is it lined up? Yep. And then I press. Very cool punch. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the tailored tags, but it's a little bit wider and not quite as long as what the tailored tags were. The tailored tag, not tags. Okay, let's put this together. Pull all these dimensions off. Okay, so our Poppy Parade is just going to be a little strip that runs down the center. Haven't used my glue yet this morning. All right, that runs right down the center of this piece. Now you could, if you wanted to, make this a horizontal card. It doesn't have to be a portrait. It could be a landscape card. I chose for mine that I wanted it, whoops, and I'm not real centered there. I think I have to go over just a little bit. There we go. I think that's a little bit better. Goodness, I'm having problems this morning. Have to get used to doing this early in the morning. Good morning, Elsa. Sandy, I don't know if I said good morning. Um, Barbara, thanks for sharing. Good morning, Cheryl. Just kind of catching up on comments. And then this is going to go on here. Now you do want to flip it over. I do see a little bit of the Poppy Parade. I like to, anytime I am putting something on top of something else and I want it to be the same length, I tend to cut just a little bit bigger because I can always trim a little bit off like I did there, but I can't add anything on if it's not long enough. So I tend to like add just a little bit, make sure it's long enough so that I don't run into problems later. Right, and that is just going to go on the front like that. I know it doesn't look like much, but when you end up taking this and popping that on there, that red just kind of pops from the designer paper and it just gives it that pop of color. When I was this far, I was like, I don't think I'm going to like this. Then when I put this on, I liked it a little bit better. All right, I'm going to go ahead. Whoops, I think I got a little bit of glue up on the top there. Didn't mean to do that. All right, layer that on that mossy meadow. So there's just a little bit of the mossy meadow sneaking through. And then I'm going to take some of our Very Vanilla. This is from our Essentials pack of our Baker's Twine. And I'm just going to, let's see, we're going to tie a bow on live camera because that's always so much fun. A little sarcasm this morning. All right, let's see how we can do. The Baker's Twine is a little bit easier than other. Actually, let's tie this in a knot and then tie it in a bow. Like I said, with Baker's Twine and some of the thinner ribbons, now I didn't tie that very tight, but I'm going to come back here and, oh my goodness, I don't have any tape sitting at this desk. What is going on? I'm just going to take a little bit of seal. And I'm gonna kind of overlap that a little bit so that it's tight. Okay, and then I'm gonna turn it over and tie my bow. There's fixes for everything, right? Okay, now I've got a little bit of seal on my hand. Let me get that off, and it's sticking to the twine here. All right, let's see. Pull on the ends a little bit. After I have it exactly where I want it, I will put a little glue dot underneath it. But for right now, I don't know exactly where it's going to be. So I'm just going to trim these off. All right, and then we have our label that we punched out, our greeting. Let's put it the right way. Thanks for liking and sharing, Julie. Good morning. Thanks for sharing, Karen. Yeah, Jay, I thought so too. Like for a sympathy for fall, I just thought, oh my gosh, these colors are just so, so pretty. So I am going to scooch this up just a little bit. And now where I want it, I'm going to come in here and grab my take your pick tool, and I'm just going to take my glue dot, kind of roll it in a little bit of a ball and stick it underneath where that knot is to kind of keep it where I want it. All right, and then I'm going to pop this up on some dimensionals. Whoops. Oh, I'm disconnected. There we go, I'm back. It gets quicker sometimes. The more you do it, the quicker it becomes. And the quicker I catch it, usually it is too. All right, we'll grab these backs. Anyone have any big plans for their Saturday? I have to pull weeds. We got some rain last night, so it's going to be a lot easier to pull the weeds. I pulled weeds for about an hour one day. I had weeds along my fence that looked like they were bushes. They were so bad. Since school started, I've been so oh, Julie, watching me from Chick-fil-A. All right. I have been so busy that I haven't had time to really do my yard work. And so it just kind of piles up, right? And I don't know why my weeds were so bad this year. My dad usually helps me, and he always puts down a ton of preen. And I still get weeds, but not really bad. But this year, um, we hired out another company to do that kind of stuff for us, and he's not very happy with them. My dad is he's like so particular with his lawn, but oh my gosh, he makes my lawn look so good and my landscaping look so good that I appreciate it so, so much. Okay, then we have these adhesive back speckled dots, and I'm trying to think if these are back in stock. I know our glow in the dark paper is back in stock, as is a lot of other stuff. I think these are back, but I'm not positive. But I'm sure somebody who is a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who knows will probably chime in. Okay, it's still raining in different areas of Wisconsin. Yes, so I'm hoping that it stops so that I can go out there and get my weeds. So I'm taking some of the green dots that were on this and just popping a few of them here and there. Okay, just to add a little bit of, well, pop of something. You could probably just get away with one of them if you wanted to too. I just popped a couple of other ones in the designer paper. It's raining here in North Dakota, so good reason to be. Right, you can stamp. G's gonna stamp. Oh, the star trinkets are also back in stock. Yes, thank you, Jay. So yeah, the Stampin' Up! Some of the stuff is coming back in pretty fast. The Abundant Beauty decorative masks, I think those were back in stock already too, I think I saw. So if it's something you want, get it before it goes back order again, because chances are it probably will. Stuff is so beautiful and I can't keep it in stock. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and add some of that beautiful paper to the edge of my envelope and trim that off. Yeah, so I have to pick weeds, like I said. I have to clean my stamp room. Oh, yeah, it's a mess again. And then I also have to make a meal for a coworker. I was supposed to do it last night, I think, but she ended up back in the hospital. So they're supposed to release her today. So I'm going to go do that today. So there is our card number one. Um, very, very autumn-like colors. So if you're looking for something, and like I said, you could use that Mr. and Mrs. and you could make this if you wanted to. It could be a wedding card. You could also have it go this way and you could run your twine this way and you could do you could do the label horizontal or you could do it vertically, and do the one that says, I hope your day is filled with joy. So lots of different ways that you can use this layout. All right, that is our card number one. I do need to keep my wild wheat. Believe it or not, of all the colors that I did not really care for, that's the one that we're using twice today in both cards. All right, next is our fun fold inspired by Jay Shante, who's on here and giving us all of the information as well. So this one is going to be using the Modern Garden, which is the stamp set that comes with this paper. It has a lot of different floral images. This does not have dies to cut these out. So if you want to cut them out, you do have to fussy cut them. I did a swap where I did end up fussy cutting because I did want to cut some of them out. Today, we're just going to be using them to make kind of a collage of floral images as a background piece. So we've got somebody making finishing a scrapbook they're making for a friend as a surprise. How nice is that? All right. So the card that was my inspiration for this fun fold is this card that Jay Shante did in a swap that I was in. So I don't know if you remember a few months ago, I did one where it was a gatefold and you had to like kind of slide it off to the side in order to open it. This is one of those. So you fold this right side down and then this opens up. Isn't that cool? And isn't that a beautiful card that Jay made? Jay, awesome work. So we are going to use this fun fold, but we're going to use it with the Modern Garden and with that Garden Walk paper. All right, so our card base, and I'm going to score and cut this with you so that you can see how it's done. So I'm just starting with 5.5 by 8.5. And then we're going to score it at two places and we're going to cut something off in one place. And then I have a 3 by 5.25 that's going to be for the inside. And I have a 3 by 5.25 that's going to be on the outside. Now this paper, look at the back, goes together. So I ended up putting it together, matching it together. So this is 3/4 of an inch by 5.25. And I have a 1/2 inch wide strip I'm going to be able to stamp my greeting on. And then I cut out one of our deckled circles that we talked about last time. Cut that out and I cut the one that was closest to the second from the last stitched circle from the Stylish Shapes. So this is the second to the largest. And then this is, I don't even know which number it is. I should know that, but it's the one that fits like closest to that. So I just kind of what I did with my deckled or circles, I ended up just putting this on there and then I grabbed the one that was the closest to it so that I could have just a little bit of border around it. All right, let's go ahead. Let's do our stamping and then I'll do our cutting and our trimming. So we need our two basic whites and we need our strip. Okay, what we're going to do on the inside is I have, let me get my stamps out here. Whoops, I just dropped the pearls that we're going to put on at the end. Get those back in my bucket. The color combination that I'm going to be using for this is actually going to be Calypso Coral. And I've got some Pretty Peacock. And I have some Poppy Parade. And we're going to be using Wild Wheat as well. So for the inside, I am using a stamp that's not actually in the stamp set. I grabbed it from, oh gosh, I don't even know. Maybe this is the one I grabbed. Nope, this is from a different one. Happiest of Birthdays. It's going to say on the inside. This is going to be a birthday card. And with the colors that I'm picking, it kind of looks like a fall birthday card without having to have leaves and all of that kind of stuff. So happiest of birthdays. And then I'm going to take one of the floral images, and I'm going to use the Poppy Parade, I think, floral image that I'm using. So I'm using Poppy Parade with this one here. And I'm just going to stamp one of those flowers on the bottom there. And then I have these cute little leaves that I'm just going to, let's see, let's put them right here. Okay, so that's going to be on the inside of our card. Then on the outside, we're going to make this into kind of a collage of some of those flowers. Now, I like to start with my biggest flower because I want to make sure that I have it where I want it to go. So my biggest flower is actually going to be in Calypso Coral. It's going to be, this image is kind of the biggest. And I'm just going to stamp one of those about right here. Okay, and on the inside, I want to put some of the Poppy Parade ink just to kind of fill that in. Now, before I go and stamp anything else, I want to put a couple of petals because I want to make sure that I can save enough space to actually put those. Okay, then I'm going to bring in the next biggest one, which is this, and we're going to do this in Poppy Parade. And I think I'm going to stamp one over there. I'm just going to get like kind of the edge of one there. Right, again, I'm going to attach a couple of leaves. I think I'm just going to do one on this one. And I think that's all I'm going to do for that. And then I'm going to bring the smallest one in our wild wheat. And I'm going to throw a couple of, let's throw some green up here. And let's throw a little bit of green down there. I think that looks pretty balanced. I might just take a little bit of wild wheat and throw some right there. All right, that's going to be our background image for this card. So I'm not using the designer paper, but I am instead using the stamps to create something that looks a little bit like designer paper. And I'm using the colors that were in the designer paper that I'm going to be using. So you can see there's Poppy Parade there. That's Calypso Coral. There's Wild Wheat, and there's Pretty Peacock. So those are the colors that I chose to put in this little circle. All right. Then with some Versamark, we are going to stamp the greeting from the stamp set that says, "Enjoy your special day." Right, and then let me put the cover back on that. I'm going to use some of our white embossing powder. I think heat embossing is something that never gets old. I remember the very first Stampin' Up! Party that I went to was at our cheese factory and in one of the offices. My sister-in-law had it and she rented out one of the office space, like a conference room there. And they did the heat embossing, and I'm like, that is so cool. They did it on some vellum, I think it was, and it was a little angel. So that is our enjoy your special day. I would take this to my heat tool and heat it up. But through the magic of TV, I actually have that done for us today. So I have that already. You can kind of see that it's raised up there a little bit. And I think, whoops, I know what I wanted to do. I wanted to do our envelope as well. So I'm going to, let's see, let's open these back up again. So I had the Calypso Coral. We'll put one maybe down in that corner. And I had the Poppy Parade was the center of that. You know what? We could even do, you could do Wild Wheat as the center too. I didn't think of that. I don't know why I did. Poppy Parade. And then we'll take some of our pretty peacock and throw some leaves in there. So we for sure have space for them. Okay, and then our Poppy Parade. Maybe right there, just a little. Okay, and we'll throw a little bit of green in where those are. Notice how I'm folding it now so that I don't go onto the front. Just put one there, and then we'll kind of fill in where we need to with our wild wheat. Okay, so we're bringing in that whole look to the back of the envelope. So if I don't want to use the paper, and I think Michelle Jones, maybe somebody posted a picture of, and I don't know if she did that in a private message or if it was the one she did for the challenge, of how she just used like a 1-inch strip of paper on the back of her envelope rather than using like the 2 1/4, 2.5 inch that you normally have to cut. She ended up just using that so that she didn't need to use as much paper, and it kind of just used up some of the leftover scraps that she had. So rather than having to use a whole sheet to cover this, she ended up just putting like a strip along the bottom, which looked really cool too. All right, I'm going to put that aside. I am going to get my paper trimmer, which I thought I brought over here, but I didn't. Okay, so on the 8.5 inch side of this, you are going to score at 1 inch. You are going to score at 4 1/4 inches. Now it doesn't matter, somebody might be looking, but that's 1 inch. Well, don't you have to move that around? 4 1/4 is the half, so it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same either way. And then on the other side, we're going to cut 1 inch off. So score 1 inch, cut 1 inch from each end, and then score at 4 1/4. That's how I ended up doing it. Now you could just start, instead of having 8.5, you could just start with 7.5 and score at 1 and 4 1/4, but then you'd have to make sure you're doing it at 1 and 4 1/4. I thought it was easier just to cut it right in half and then score. And so this is going to be folded, and I don't have a bone folder here either. Goodness, what's wrong with me? Have been stamping all over the house, I guess. This is going to fold back, but it's nice to fold it forward and back and kind of get the fibers loose so that it easily pulls when you need to pull it later. Okay, so that is our card base. We have our inside that we already stamped. That's just going to go on that 3-inch wide section right there. I'm setting things everywhere. I had no idea where my glue just was. Whew. I am having a hot flash and I don't know why. Huh, I know why, because I'm that age. But okay, happiest of, oh, you got to be kidding me. Let's see if we can fix that. I just smeared some pretty peacock ink. This is a sand eraser. I think I had it out the other day too because I had something on the inside. There we go. All better. All right. Then we have our little strip with our stripes. That's going to go along the side. Just like that. So weird because in the fall, normally on a Saturday, we would watch the Badgers, but they played last night. So it's kind of nice because I'm actually probably going to get some work done instead of feeling like whatever I do, I have to do on the inside of the house so that I can kind of be watching them at the same time. All right, then we have our floral image in that center section. Isn't that pretty? Aw. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach that circle that we stamped to that pretty peacock deckled circle. And then what I need to do is I need to put this is kind of like one that I did a while ago, and I'm going to show you that one because I actually made one of those with this stamp set as well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to add dimensionals on this side. We want to make sure dimensionals don't go any further than where we want it to go on here. It can't, if they go into this area, it's going to have problems. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw my dimensionals on the far right side. Okay, 3 of them should be plenty, and I should still have them far enough away. And you can put this anywhere. You could put it down here if you wanted to. You could put it center. You could put it up higher. I chose to put mine a little bit closer to center. Okay, and I want to make sure my dimensionals, yep, my dimensionals are good. Okay, they're underneath there. So that's where I want that. Then I'm going to take that greeting that I had, and I decided just to cut it on an angle on either end. And I'm going to take some of the, I think this is called braided linen trim. And I'm just going to tie a, you know what, I tied a bow and it got a little thick. So I think I'm going to do a fake bow. But of course, I don't have any tape here right now. Let me grab some tape. I'm back. I have my tape kind of in the kitchen already set up for, I have Stamp Club, and I was getting things set up and I kind of moved things in. So I'm going to go ahead and make a faux bow. Jay, you don't have this DSP? Oh, I love this DSP. I ended up having to, um, first of all, when I was going to do the sweet swap, Jay, Christine told me that I was going to have that. So I was kind of excited because I thought, oh, I really like that paper. And then she kind of changed things around and told me that I had a different set, which is fine. But I kind of had my heart set on that garden walk. So then I ended up picking that as one of the other sweets that I worked on. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of that trim to the edge. And again, I made this a faux bow, which means um, I didn't tie it. I ended up just kind of making it into looking like a bow, and then I just added a little tape there to hold it in place. And I do have to trim a little bit of the tape is sticking off the edge because the tape, this is a really skinny piece. And then I'm just going to add some dimensionals. So I think our big dimensionals will work here. And then I think at the end, I'm going to have to put a little one to hold that in place. And okay, so enjoy your special day. Flip it, happiest of birthdays. All right, super easy, just kind of pulling those colors in. And then this suite also has some of these, they're called blooming pearls, and they come in like a greenish color, a gold, and there's some pink. And I decided I was going to take the lighter pink and use some of those. And so I'm just going to find some spots where I have some openings. So I have like a really big one there. So I'm going to take a bigger pink one, and then I'm going to just find a couple of other spots and fill those spots with some of those little pearls. Okay, so this opens like that. Happiest of birthdays. And there is our card. Again, it was inspired by Jay's card that I received in a swap. That was a Christmas card that was absolutely beautiful. And I have my envelope all ready to go. It matches with the card that I have there. I'll bring in the other card that we made, which was our sympathy card using the heartfelt hexagon. I think that's what it's called, heartfelt hexagon stamp set. And then I have, where did I put all my swaps? Thought they were in this bucket. I pulled out all of the swap cards. Oh, here they are. Pulled out all of the swap cards that I received. So this is one that I made for one of the swaps. It uses the, this is Poppy Parade with Pretty Peacock, which I also probably wouldn't have put that together. And then this is that other fold I was telling you about that I did several weeks ago. So this folds this way. So it's a gate fold, and then it opens up. And then I use the linen thread, braided linen thread here. I had to fussy cut these flowers out, and I just used the colors. So here was one of those flowers that I did, and then here's that one. And then they had these little ones in blue. So I did that in the blue. So, and then I had to cut out each of those little petals too. This one took a long time to do, but I loved this paper design. So put it on the outside on 2 panels, and then on the inside on 2 panels, and then there's a place to write your message. Okay, so that is another one that I did. Diane Bogenhagen used the same paper that we used today, and then she used a different stripe, and this folds open in the center. And then she also cut the paper in half and flipped it and made this card. And she used, this looks like it's Lost Lagoon with the, instead of Poppy Parade, it looks like she used real red. Okay, so there's that one. And then here's another one that has a lot of Wink of Stella on it. This uses the same one. This just takes some of that braided linen thread, and it just kind of distresses the end of it a little bit, just kind of by pulling on it. And she just put a couple of strips of it. She just adhered those down. And then here is another one. And this one uses, instead of wild wheat or mossy meadow, it uses old olive. And then it looks like it's real red instead of Poppy Parade and Calypso Coral. So those are a couple of samples that you have. I also made, and I thought I put it in here as well. I have my stamp club this weekend, and I decided that I wanted to use that fold for my stamp club. So I saw something that had like the boo. This is the glow in the dark paper, which is back, and then these are the glow in the dark little bats. But this folds down like that, and then it says Happy Halloween on the inside. So the ladies in my stamp club are gonna, so that's another one of those folds. So giving you a few other ideas here. So for a Halloween card, um, a couple of other ideas with the garden walk, and then the cards that we made with the garden walk paper. All right, I have to turn a light back on or you won't see me. Actually, I should turn all my lights off. Let's turn all the lights off here real quick and see if we can see this glow in the dark paper. See if I can get it dark enough for the glow in the dark paper. Oh, let's see, where are my other little switches here? You can kind of see it a little bit. Um, I gotta find all my switches to turn all my lights off. They're all getting hid by things that I was. There's another one, and I got one more over here somewhere. Here we go. All right, can you see that glow in the dark paper? It's still a little bit light because I have my computer on and things like that. But that gives you an idea of what that glow in the dark paper will look like. And that is back, from what I heard, it's back in stock. I'll turn my overhead light on. There we go. And then I'll come back to you. I gotta find my mouse here. I just hit it again. There we go. Now lots of things going on here. Oh, I'm back. All right. Yeah, Linda, I thought this was a fun fold. I thank Jay for making it as part of our swap. And actually, it's so funny how it happened. So, I was planning last night and I was going through all of my swaps, and I always like to take pictures of them so that in case I use them for something that I still have a picture of it to look back at. And I saw her card, and then another person that I like to watch a lot is I can't even the paper pixie is it Julie DiMatteo and of the paper pixie, and I was looking at her video which was on Thursday, which I wasn't able to watch because I was doing volleyball. But anyway, she was doing the exact same fold, and I'm like, okay, God, I'm hearing you. This is the fold that I need to do. So then I started playing with the stuff that I have and tried to make something different with it. It was one of those moments where I felt like it was divine, like, hello, this is what you should be making. And so I had fun making that. Next week, I think what I'm going to plan for next week is some Halloween stuff. So we'll be about a month out from Halloween. And so I'll do some maybe some 3D items. I started to mess around a little bit. We have our little box die that you can get, but then I also made this from scratch. So I didn't need a die for this, but I made it. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll come up with some different ideas for Halloween gift giving, like putting a little treat in something to leave at the office or to pop in a lunchbox or do anything like that for Halloween. And then maybe I'll do a card and maybe a couple of 3D items. Does that sound fun? Let me know in the comments if you're up for Halloween next week, and we will work on doing something with Halloween. If people are like, no, I don't like 3D items, then I'll kind of stay away from that. But I know there are some people that they like to get ideas like that, especially if they can follow the video then afterwards and recreate it. So that was my thought going forward for next week. So anyhow, I don't know where to start. I think I'm going to go to the meat market first. Actually, I think I'm going to package up the winner's gifts so that I can go to the meat market. I can stop at the post office. I can get home. Hopefully, by then, it'll be dry enough that I can go out and do my weed pulling and then come in and clean my stamp room. That's my plan. So I hope that you have a great day. I hope that you find some time. I know some of you said it's raining where you are. I hope you can find some time to be creative. I will be back here again next Saturday at 8:30, and then the Saturday after that is then when we're going to have our guest stamper. Jay is going to be here, and she is going to be featuring a really cool card. But that one will be at 12:30 instead of 8:30 in the morning because I have a card buffet in the morning. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, a great week ahead, and I will see you only once next week, and it'll be next Saturday. Have a great day. Bye bye.